Man, we first off excited to have you on with us today, man. We appreciate taking some time out, baby.
Yeah, man, no problem, no problem.
Yeah, man. So to start this thing out, man, just talk about how you've been transitioning to this NFL life, man. Has anything surprised you? Like, what's been going on for it?
Yeah, man. I mean, the biggest thing is just, being able to be here in the first place. It's not an easy thing to be able to be a part of, but, the transition has been going pretty good. Biggest thing is just, as a punter on the NFL level, consistency is key. Placement is key. Mm-hmm. And just, like Coach T says all the time, so it's just making routine plays routinely. And that's just what the name of the game is, man. And just being able to, continue my craft in that position of, being able to produce that every single time I'm on the field, or every single time I get a rep in practice. Man, it's been a journey. I've been up here in Pittsburgh now since about the middle of May. I've been, ins and outs of, OTA work, mini camp work, and training camp, and now into the regular season. Man, I look back when I first got up here, and, it was a lot more stress. The stress is something that a lot of people really don't get an opportunity to talk about from a standpoint of, being an NFL athlete. And the biggest thing is just, having that foundation and that background of, I have a really tight-knit family that's always been behind me. Just being able to have those people that's behind you that, continue to uplift you when you're up here in a new city by yourself. Because, man, it's hard. But, being able to have the Steelers organization that always have opportunities and things and people to talk to, keep you clear-minded, keep you on track, on and off the field. Man, it's been a journey, but I mean, like this transition has actually been pretty well for me. It's a lot better than I expected it was going to go.
No, that's good to hear, man. I'm glad that you're acclimating yourself and starting to settle into this thing, man. But speaking of first impressions, man, what was your first impression of Heinz Field for the home opener, baby?
Man, I'll tell you one thing. Steeler Nation is huge. I learned that trying to get to the game, and I was in so much traffic just trying to get to the game and just to perform. Man, it's ridiculous, but this city and this fan base is unbelievable. They come out in numbers and numbers and numbers, and it's just always been a lot of love. Like I actually got an opportunity to play in Heinz Field a couple years ago at Georgia Tech. We played the University of Pitt away, and I actually got an opportunity to, it's not the same fan base, but it's kind of similar. But I mean,
there's no one in that Pitt Stadium, man, for Pitt games.
Yeah, it's not even as close as what it was Sunday than it was 2 years ago. But man, this organization has some incredible fan base, man, and I just truly appreciate it because it's always a good thing when you have the crowd that's involved in the game, and that can be a sway of a game. Mm-hmm. And this fan base is that by a long shot.
Now, you were talking about the love you've gotten from Steeler fans. Whenever we drafted you, we basically locked you in as the starting punter for this year. Can you take me through the competition you had with Jordan Berry throughout this whole offseason? So you come out, Hall of Fame game, just dropping dimes left and right. And we're like, okay, yeah, the competition's completely over. But Jordan Berry bounces back the next game. And as we could see, you won the job. He's a pretty good punter in his own right. He got picked up by the Vikings. Can you take me through that competition with Jordan Berry this offseason and your reaction to ultimately winning the job?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, the biggest thing was I knew coming into it that I wasn't going to be given anything. And just being able to be drafted just means that you were drafted. That doesn't give you any entitlement or anything like that. And coming into it, I personally didn't know Berry beforehand. But I know some veterans in this league, they can have a different type of opinion on how they want to, be around another rookie that's supposed to be trying to compete for the same job. Mm-hmm. But when I tell you, Jordan Berry is one of the best mentors any specialist could have ever had. Jordan took me kind of under his wings and showed me the rope and was selfless when I first got up here to, kind of show me the ins and outs of this thing. And at the same time, we're competing for the same spot. And there's only one spot on the active roster. But, man, when I tell you this entire time that I was up here when he was here too, I didn't even think of a competition in the standpoint of I just got to go out there and I just got to beat him every day. It was more so of a stance of how can I make myself better and how can he make himself better and how can both of us put that together to just make each other better every single day. And because that we did that over the training camp, as well as the preseason games, both of us came out victorious, in my honest opinion. because he's now with another team and he was able to, put out good film out there to be able to continue his journey down on in his career. And I was able to, get a good foundation for mine too. And I'm just definitely appreciative of that because I know a couple of stories of a couple of other veterans that would not have done that for a rookie at all. And I still got mad love and mad respect for Barry to this day.
Nah, man, you're 100% right. From personal experience, there's plenty of veterans out there that will not lend a helping hand to a young guy competing for their spot. And Barry was my guy. We shared that locker room, man. But I'm happy as heck to see you out there doing your thing, man. But what I want to know, man, you talked about a little bit with the first answer, right? With some of the fanfare that you've received. I mean, you've been a big deal as a specialist going back to your collegiate days. But has it ever felt overwhelming to you? And if so, how do you handle that? How do you compartmentalize to keep yourself focused on what you need to be focused on?
Yeah, I mean, everything you find a little bit of frustration in, and, having all of the accolades and stuff behind me, it does get a little bit frustrating because, people only see the accolades and stuff. They don't see the work that you put in behind the scenes. And the thing that I kept hearing ever since I was drafted was, you got the spot. Like, you're our punter and, you're going to be here for 20 years. Like, that all sounds good, but I haven't proven anything on this level yet. Because you know, too, like, accolades don't mean anything unless you continue to make more of them. Mm-hmm. And you just continue your journey on making that work. Because, I'm a really, really humble guy, and that's just how I was raised. And all of the accolades and stuff, like, that's good and all, but that's not what I want to be remembered by. I want people to remember about the hard work that I put in on the practice field, all of the hours and the commitment that I had for my teammates to try to make them better at the same time, and just things like that. And the accolades will come, but the accolades are only accolades unless you work hard. And that's the thing that was, kind of frustrating for me was, I got family and friends back home that are just saying, when are you going to get a place up here? And just worrying about all these other things. I'm like, nah, man, like, my head needs to be visioning on the fact of every single day I'm up here and I'm walking in that building, how can I get better? And that's exactly what I did, man. And that's all I still think about because, making the team week one isn't anything. You got to make it through a season now. Mm-hmm. And, specialists come in and out of doors all day, every single day for just about every organization. And if I can just continue to make myself 1% better every day, that's my motto. That's what I got from Georgia Tech, just get better every single day. If I can make myself 1% better every single day, I can be here for a while. And that's just my goal, is just working hard and working harder than I have to work in the game, because that's really how we practice now. Because if you practice harder than the game's going to be like a breeze for you. Mm. And that's exactly what it's been. Like, we get put in situations in practice, and by the time I get to the game, I'm not out there nervous. I'm not overthinking anything. I know what I got to do. I know how to do it, and I can just do it with the swiftness.
What's your favorite play? The play you're most proud of? Is it the throw, or is it whenever you drop a dime like on the 1 yard line?
I would say the throw because that's my only score, but that's going to be a selfish one. I think my biggest play that I've made personally was the Hall of Fame game with the ball on the 1 yard line. Yeah. And I say that because you don't really get a chance to see balls land on the 1 yard line, but the throwing touchdowns and stuff like I did in college was good and all. Like, yeah, like that was a big part of why we won that game. But putting a defense in good field position to make plays on those drives mean more than anything. Like, people can think like, because I can throw the ball, I should do that every time. That's not really my job description. My job is to put that defense in a position to where they can make plays, because defense, offense, and special teams are all three phases of the game. If you got one phase that can put another phase in position to make better plays, both of those phases go up. And then the offense will get on board with it, and then it'll just have a snowball effect. So that's really my favorite play, of putting the ball where I need to put the ball to make defense make plays.
Now, you mentioned your relationship with Jordan Berry, and special teams versus the rest of the team is kind of separate. Were you guys doing anything throughout this offseason, or did you do anything in Georgia Tech? Like, do you guys have like a little golfing club? Were you playing cards? Was there something specific even to each team that you guys as special team unit were doing?
Back at Tech, the biggest thing we would do is play a game called punt golf, and we would just usually do that at practice. So we'll just pick a target, have a select amount of hits or punts, in an aspect of it until you hit that target, and you just do it just like golf. That's the game we've mostly played. I mean, up here with the Steelers, I really haven't found anything yet because there's not really a position group. There's only 3 of us, so we're still working the ins and outs of that still. So,
gotcha.
Now, as a specialist, right? We don't hear a lot of you guys getting drafted. Okay, we know it's hard to get drafted just in general, but for you, man, like I said, it was a lot of fanfare, a lot of hype surrounding you. So, man, just talk about your draft day experience, man, and what was your story behind it?
Yeah, man, draft day was a little bit different than I was expecting it to. When the draft started, the first day, watched the second day, and just all of these picks going in and out. And, you know, I was excited at first, those first 2 days. When the third day started, that's when the jitters started to get in and the anxiety. Draft day was almost not what I wanted my draft day to be like. Like, as you know, I went 7th round, 254th pick. The 8th from last pick, matter of fact. And I was hearing rumors about, you know, there was going to be a good bit of punters taken this year, and we were supposed to be taken a lot earlier, 5th and 6th round. Evan McPherson, he's now the kicker at the Bengals, a good friend of mine. He was drafted in the 5th round. And usually it's that jitter of, all right, if one specialist is taken, a couple of teams will start making picks for other specialists. That was not the case. 6th round, two long snappers get drafted. And when the 6th round came and went, that's when my agent also was at my draft party with my family. The real anxiety started setting in on me of, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know where I'm going to go. So the 6th round came and went. We started making phone calls to different teams. Teams started reaching out. And it was more so looking like I wasn't going to get drafted. And, you know, I was a little upset because I worked my entire life, had a really, really good senior year to put myself in a position to be drafted. And I didn't think it was going to look like that. So my agent and my kicking coach, we walked outside everybody else because my family could tell, obviously, that I was kind of pissed off. But we walked outside. The 7th round started, and we were on the phone with the team where we were saying, you know, what does this free agency look like for me for a deal with them? And I had one on the board. And what I didn't realize was on the last day, we were 2 picks behind the order on TV. So picks were coming in, I think, like 5 to 10 minutes later than they already were. So I wasn't sure of the lineup. And we knew the Steelers was one of the organizations that were down on our, you know, it's kind of like our draft radar.
Yeah.
Because Danny Smith, which used to also coach at Georgia Tech back in the day, ran my pro day workout. And the Steelers were the first team after pro day to call to make sure they had my right draft contact and stuff. And that was all I heard. So we knew they were on the board, but we didn't know what they were going to do because I haven't heard anything. And the next thing I know, I'm on the phone with one team, and I got a Pittsburgh 412 number calling me, and I accidentally missed the phone call.
No.
I accidentally missed the phone call because I didn't know what pick we were on. So I thought they were calling for free agency too. And about 30 seconds later, I called the number back. And the first thing I hear is, I hope you're not on the phone trying to make free agency deals and stuff. I was like, I am not going to lie to you, Coach, like I am. I'm trying to figure this out. And the next thing I know, it's Coach T on the phone. He's like, well, don't worry about it. This is Mike Conlon with the Steelers. We're going to take you right here with this last pick we got.
Let's go.
And I went crazy. I told myself ahead of time, and I told my family, I'm not going to cry when I get drafted. I'm so excited. Man, I cried like a toddler, bro.
It happens. It happens.
There was so many up and downs in that day. I just had to let it all out. I let it all out right on my girlfriend and my mom, man. Like I was done, man. And it was a complete honor, bro. And like, I can't thank the Steelers enough because, man, this is a real organization to play for. This is literally NFL history up here. And when I tell you every single day I walk in these facilities, man, I am just thankful of being here. And I get the opportunity to just make that 1% of myself better every single day, bro. Like, and I have this coaching staff and everybody behind me. The fan base is behind me and all. I don't feel alone. I am up here by myself, but I don't feel alone. I feel that love from every single corner of this city.
Nah, man, that's an awesome story. And trust me, man, being a part of this organization, man, it is nothing like it. It's family first. You see it from top to bottom with Mr. Rooney, man, every day available to you, man. So never feel like you alone, man. You always got us alumni up here with you, baby. All right.
Most def, man. I definitely appreciate you.
No doubt. No doubt.
Now, you took us through the draft day story. Can you take us through the story of becoming a punter? I listened to some of your previous interviews. Coaches, whenever you were young, were trying to get you to play different positions. You ended up playing punter because it was out of need. Like, the team didn't have it, and you punted one time, and it was not the best punt. It only went like 5 yards, but you fell in love with it and stuck with the position. Could you take us through that story?
Yeah, man. So my 7th grade year, I was playing center at my middle school, and we had an open trial like the 2nd or 3rd day of football practice to try to find a kicker. We didn't have one, basically. So I just took the initiative of, screw it. It's something new. I might as well just try it. I'll do it for the team and then go back on offense when I'm needed. So that's what my first thought process was. When that ball hit my foot the first time, I just kind of fell in love with it. I mean, I've never done it before. I always used to play like kickball and stuff growing up, and I always had a strong leg, but I never thought of using it as a specialist. So
even though it was a bad kick.
Yeah, even though it was really, really bad, I thought it was really, really good because nobody else could do it. So 7th and 8th grade go by. I was doing that. I transitioned over to tight end my 8th grade year, and then I got to high school. So freshman year comes around over the summer. The next thing I know, I'm still trying to punt for our we call it the B team, so it's under junior varsity, and it's usually just freshmen playing on that team. Mm-hmm. So, I started that in the off-season work that we had, and one day I'm out kicking, and our varsity coach comes walking by, says, tomorrow at practice, come over to the varsity field and punt. And I punted a couple balls, and when I tell you, a couple of the players were actually very astonished at the fact that it was so high. Oh. I didn't really have good form because I never got sustainable coaching or anything yet. But after that practice, he moved me up to varsity to be second string. I didn't play my freshman year at all. I had raw potential still. I had a strong leg, but I didn't really know how to kick the ball yet. So after my freshman year, off of the B team, I got moved up to varsity full-time just for specialists. But the tight ends coach, the offensive line coach at the time was telling me, look, next year, you can do this punting and stuff the rest of this year, but next year, I need you to play tight end. I need you to play tight end and fullback so you can block for us, stuff like that, right? So, I went and told my mom, I'm like, hey, like, this punting thing, I'm enjoying it, but, they want me to play tight end on varsity and stuff the next year. And my mom was just like, what do you want to do? I was like, to be honest, Coach made it seem like he wants me to do that just for him, not for me to be in the best position to get to college, because that was my dream of going to my dream school was South Carolina. So I was like, I don't think I'm going to be 6'5", trying to play tight end in the SEC. It's just not going to happen. So he was like, well, just follow what your heart wants you to do. And I did that, and I went to practice the next day, and I told him, I was like, Coach, I thought about what you said. I think I want to just punt. And when I tell you that coach got pissed off at me, because he was like, no, you don't need to do that. You're not going to be able to do that. You're never going to be good at it. And ever since that moment on, I just wanted to prove him wrong. So my freshman year ends. The next year comes by. I start getting coaching and stuff in the off season for punting. And going into my sophomore year, I went up to Wisconsin to our, we call it it's the Coles Kicking Professional Camps. I went to their National Scholarship Camp up north in Wisconsin, and I didn't really have any coaching or anything at that point yet, but I worked my butt off that off season to be able to be good enough to go to this camp and then to go prove myself. And I did just that, man. Like, I left that camp ranked number 1 in the nation. Wow. I was number 1 at that camp as a rising sophomore, and I beat out NFL players that are actually in the league now that were in high school at the same time as me a couple years ago. I won that entire camp, and for the first time in Cole's kicking history, an underclassman won the camp that was supposed to be the ranking for the Under Armour All-American game. So I was supposed to play in the game, but because I'm not a senior, I had to forfeit my spot.
Oh, wow. Man. Dude, that's dope, though. Holy cow. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, man. So from that point on, I kind of felt like I had a target on my back, and I was an early bloomer with this kicking stuff, man. Like I had a really early growth spurt with it, and by the time my senior year caught up, the same guys that were in my class that couldn't keep up, they started getting better. So I just continued to get better and better every year, and worked my behind off throughout my entire high school career to be able to get one scholarship offer. So my only one was to Georgia Tech. My only offer in general. I didn't have a preferred walk-on offer at anything. I said South Carolina was my dream school, and Munchamp was the head coach at the time that I was getting recruited, and he didn't offer me because he just got there and they were in the rebuilding stage of their program. I wanted to stay home so bad. He didn't offer me. Tech offered me earlier in my junior year. I went ahead and accepted that. And man, the rest is history now, man. I'm just truly blessed for that opportunity in the first place because, if Georgia Tech didn't believe me, I don't know where I was going to be.
That's a dope story.
No, that is, man. That definitely is. I got a selfish question. JMU, they weren't on the radar? I'm just throwing it out there, man. You ever heard of James Madison University?
I have. I actually have, and that's the crazy thing. But, man, my biggest thing was, where can I go to get a really good education and not pay for school? That was my two things.
For sure.
I didn't want to burden my family and my parents on, having to pay student loans and stuff like that with me throughout my entire lifetime. So
I could definitely understand that.
Yeah, man.
Now, I got to ask you about your current special teams coach, but I just remembered, man, you've been down there at Georgia Tech. My guy, Tashara Choice been down there with you, man. Yeah, that's my guy, man. That's my guy right there.
Good guy, man. I love that guy to death, man. He's one of my favorite coaches ever in football.
Yeah.
Man, when you're talking about a coach that's a player's coach, it's him all the way. All the way. T-Choice is good, man. He's a great guy.
I say, yeah, love TC, man. But talk to us a little bit, man. What's it been like having Danny Smith as a coach, man? He's a different individual, but I happen to like the guy a lot. But man, you let me know, man. What's your thoughts on Danny right there, man?
I got one word for you on D. Smith, man. Old school, and that's exactly what he is, but it works. And when the first time I met D. Smith, it was actually on a phone call right after I committed not committed, but I declared for the draft. He called me about a week or two coming into, trying to, get ready for pro day. He calls me and, we talk it up, and I had a couple of coaches call me at this time. This was the only phone call. I was on the phone for about an hour and a half. And we just started talking, and we kind of, had a relationship built before I even knew what he looked like. Man, like I heard his voice. I know he was vocal, but I didn't even know what he looked like. And after that phone call, I felt so confident in myself of just being able to do this. Like I was just ready to go conquer the world. And the next thing I know, a couple of months later, he's at Tech doing my pro day workout with the special teams coach from the Falcons, Marquise Williams. Both of them did it hand in hand, but it was predominantly D. Smith. And what I also didn't know until I went to the facility the next day after that phone call was Coach Smith actually coached at Georgia Tech. And he actually was one of the coaches on the coaching staff that won our last national championship in 1990.
Oh, wow.
So when I found that out, I was like, man, like, there's somebody else at Tech in the league that's, potentially wanting me to come to their organization. So I'm like, man, like, let's see how this goes. And, pro day was well. He kept in contact. And now I'm up here, and, I've been up here for a couple of months with him. Man, he is a crazy coach. But when I tell you, man, this man knows what he's talking about. And he knows how to put us in positions to win on special teams, man. It's ridiculous. Like, he knows a lot. He's one of I think he's one of the coaches that's been in the NFL level for the longest. I think this is his 27th season.
He's been in the NFL for a long time. Long time. 27
seasons. That's a long time. Man, he's been a big help. He's been a big part of my success as well, because he tells me every single day, you come on this field, don't try to be more than what you are. Just do you. And we'll put you in a position where you can make plays. And, man, that's what I come to every single day, man. I appreciate him for everything he's done and believing in me enough to bring me here in the first place, man.
Hey, love Danny Smith, man. Tell my man he needs some help. He needs some help. He'll know what it means. But we had a question, man, coming in from the chat for you as well, man, because like I said, we are live right now from my man Nick Y. He says, Steeler Nation wants to know, what do you want to be called? They like PH36. We obviously hear PH3. We hear thick kick as well, man. But we want to know from you, baby. What do you want to be called?
Man, I don't even know because I haven't thought about that. But I always my initials are PH3, and I'm completely fine with that. But if they want to be PH6 or PH3, whatever one, man, it doesn't matter to me. Both of them are good.
All right. I like that. They also. Oh, you got one? Okay.
Well, yeah, this one's from Joey. He's saying, Pressley, why did you take number 6? You do know that is Steeler legend Duck Hodges' number. Did you get his blessing?
I didn't get his blessings, but I knew he wore 6. Actually, this is kind of ironic because I didn't think about it, but I'm Pressley Harvin the third, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the third. My dad's the junior. That's 2. And then my granddad's senior, that's 1. So 3 plus 2 plus 1 is what? 6. That's the first
okay.
That's the first thing I noticed after I already picked the number. I really picked it because it was only single digit left, and I liked it. The other thing that I just found out was, I believe if my source is correct, I am actually the 6th black punter to ever be in the NFL. And I didn't know that until about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that actually might be true. I have to check the sources again, but I can count on one hand how many there were, and it wasn't that many. And I can count 5, and I would be the 6th.
Wow. So yeah, connections to the number then too.
I'm about to say that is pretty significant. I like that then. Okay. Well, like I said, we've had you on for a while, and we know you got to prepare for a game this weekend. So I got one last question for you, baby. All right. Talk about your welcome to the NFL moment.
Man, I think the biggest welcome to the NFL moment I had was when I was on the airplane getting up here, and I went in the airport, and I got a ride to the facilities, and I walk in the facilities, and everybody is just there, and I saw my locker. I think that was my biggest welcome to the NFL moment for me. A lot of people would probably say it's a play where they got ran over on the field or something like that to the NFL. Man, mine was just being able to see my name and my number on that locker. That really hit me. And man, I've been dreaming about this moment my entire life. I mean, every little kid that plays football want to get to the league, man.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what position or what route it was going to look like. And to say that I conquered something and that I worked my behind off so long to be able to do it, and I didn't even know how I was going to look. I just had the plan of doing it. Man, it's a complete honor, man. And I saw that locker, and I was like, man, I actually am here. And I knew that could have been temporary, if the front office or anything wanted to go a different route than me.
Right.
But I just told myself, like, man, no matter what, I know I made it. Like a lot of people can't say they got drafted because that's a small, tight-knit community as it is. But to have my name on this locker at this point in my life, I can say, I made it, and that was my welcome to the NFL moment for me.
No, man, that is awesome right there, man. Well, Pressley, dude, we appreciate you, man, taking some time to be with us today, man. Keep preparing. We look forward to seeing you keep doing your thing on these Sundays, baby. All right.
Most def, you know it, brother. Appreciate y'all for having me.
Appreciate it, man. No, for sure.